Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
We spoke with Simply Smile, a family helping out during COVID-19.
Well, I'm very pleased to be joined with the Monroe family here, based here in Lloydminster. Of course, they're responsible for creating Simply Smile, a great clothing line to help fight the COVID-19 pandemic. So first off, everybody, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Let's talk about what Simply Smile came from. Where did that name come from, and I guess how did it all get started?
So I think Allie was going to answer this one. It's kind of something that the kids have been thinking about for a little bit here. They wanted to have an opportunity to be able to give back to our community. So it's actually, they had thought about it before the whole COVID-19 pandemic actually hit. And then once the pandemic hit, it was just an easy launch because they already had everything in place. So in regards to the name, maybe Allie can speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, Allie, so I guess first off, where did that name come from? And then I guess why did you decide to do a clothing line to help show your support?
We were just brainstorming names, and we thought Simply Smile was just a simple name that everyone can remember, and it meant that this was something positive.
And I guess for Gabby as well, I know you're also you're just one of the kids that also helped create this. What's been one of the best parts of doing this kind of way of giving back?
Well, it's really nice to give back and help our community.
And so what have you guys heard from the community? Have a lot of people been buying, and what's been kind of the response that you've been getting? I know it's been pretty big on social media where people have been, sporting and modeling the collections that you guys have as well.
So I think all in all, I think the kids have been feeling a little bit humble actually when it comes down to it. They had an idea and they wanted to be able to give back to the community, but we never really thought it was going to take off quite the way it has. So we're pretty excited about it. Mackenzie, who's the oldest, she's kind of in charge of taking the pictures and doing videos. She's a little camera shy, so that's more up her alley. But we're launching with the COVID collection, and 100% of the net proceeds from the COVID collection will be going to the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation to support the COVID Emergency Fund. In the future, we're excited. Allie just did up a blog. We launched the Teachers Collection, and with the Teachers Collection, % of the proceeds will be going to support local breakfast clubs and extracurricular activities within our community. So we do have a large announcement to make later on today. So if people are paying attention to our social media page, we have a collaboration with the Thorpe Recovery Center, who actually approached the kids and approached us moving forward on what we're going to be doing for them. So if people want to watch our social media page, that's a pretty exciting thing that we have people reaching out to us now. So.
Absolutely. And I guess where does it all get manufactured? I know in your residential home, I know it may not be big enough to make a bunch of hoodies and sweaters. So how does that process all work for you guys?
Okay.
So we partnered with Kingdom Mind Media, and they print 100% of our designs.
And why did you guys choose them? And then I guess also, what kind of clothing do you guys have? I know you guys have some hoodies as well. Like, what else do you guys have to offer?
We also have t-shirts available and tank tops, along with just sweatshirts.
And have you guys been getting a lot of all your friends and all your family been buying a lot of stuff from you?
Yes, for sure.
And
Sorry, it's been great. And the reason that we did choose Kingdom Mind Media is because they're a small local company, and that's what we want to support is our community. So there's a lot of wonderful print companies in Lloydminster, and but we do have a little bit of a connection through one of our daughter's friends with Nick that owns Kingdom Mind Media. So it was a good fit, and he's been a great partner for us. So we've been very grateful for his opportunity to collaborate with him.
And I guess just lastly, what's the website that people can go and check out the merchandise, or if they want to buy some for themselves?
The website where you can purchase all of our things is www.simplysmile.com.
That's it.
CA.
Well, I really appreciate everyone taking time out of your day to chat with me today and sharing the great clothing line that you guys have to offer for the city and for everyone else across the country. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for having us and for giving us this opportunity. It's a little bit hard via Zoom to really get an idea, and some of the questions aren't coming through quite clear on our end in terms of our audio. So we're grateful that you had us here today and give us this opportunity. So.
I'm joined here with Chris Brubaker, and he is the president of the United Way Lloydminster and District here. And recently you received $180,000 in total funding that is being dispersed to the community. So first of all, what was your reaction when you heard about the funding?
We were thrilled to hear that there was such a great reaction or great funding coming to the community from the government. So the government had received or given a sum to the United Way Canada, to which dispersed that funding amongst the United Ways in Canada, and we out of that received $180,000, which was just amazing. Like, we didn't think we were going to get anywhere near that much, to be honest. So the fact that we received more than we were expecting to be able to disperse to the community is great news. So, and obviously in current times, every little bit helps. So.
And who will this funding be going towards?
There is a few places. There is criteria that needs to be met in order to receive the funding. There's one moment here. There are like the basic of those who can apply. And for applications, you can reach out to the United Way office or email us at funding at lloydminster.unitedway.ca or .com. .ca. My apologies. And those who can apply, I mean, the funding categories that are included but not limited to funding for senior support, Indigenous support, food bank support, mental health support, shelter support, healthcare support. Those are just a few examples off the top of my head or here that I have available at the moment that would fall within the criteria that would be met or be able to meet to receive the funding.
And with the program running until July 31st, will different programs be available to receive it during this time period?
Yes, that's correct. So their applications will be assessed on a rolling basis. So starting May 19th to July 31st is going to be the dates in which we have to have the money dispersed. So within that time frame, again, for those who are interested or who might need support, they can reach out and get an application to submit within those dates.
And what does it mean for you to be able to support the community in this way with this funding?
You know, the community, Lloydminster is a great community, and as are many communities across this country are struggling. There's different places, different people. So for us to be able to support our community in whatever way we can means a lot to myself and the team at the United Way Lloydminster and District. So for us to be able to do this, help out, like I said, with the seniors, support Indigenous, food banks, mental health, shelter support, healthcare, and probably a little bit more yet above and beyond that. It's great. I mean, for us to be able to give back, I mean, that's why we do it, right? So we come in to the office, we receive the different funding, different programs, different things that we can do with the community to help the community stay strong and keep moving forward. So.
And now you also mentioned that there is going to be an application process for this funding. Can you go into a little bit more detail regarding that?
That is correct. There is an application process. So when we received the funding, we were given criteria that had to be met, like the different support areas, like I listed off, but not limited to that by any means. There is other things that need to be met for the funding to be received. So as the applications are filled out and rolled into the office from the numbers that we get, we have to look at the funding requests, look at our criteria, and make sure they match, and we can give that support. So I don't have any examples of the specific criteria that I can give out right now. Sorry, camera's going wonky. but that's if there is questions or concerns, people can reach out to us at the United Way Lloydminster District office, or they can email Alex Wilson or myself at funding@lloydminster.unitedway.ca.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Chris. This was Chris Brubaker, and he is the president of United Way here in Lloydminster.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm joined here with Jan Reimer from the Alberta Council of Women's Shelters. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
Well, happy to do so. It's good news for us, this announcement.
So, and let's just get into the announcement right now. You guys announced a partnership with Shoppers Drug Mart. Can you guys just tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we're really pleased to have this, because Shoppers operates in so many different communities in Alberta, as do women's shelters. And so the Shoppers Love You Fund is one that's designed to support our members all across the province when they encounter challenges that systems sometimes can't respond to or can't be nimble enough to respond to. So we're really excited about having this opportunity of both working with our members and with Shoppers.
And so how is the fund going to work? They're going to collect some money that you guys are going to be able to hold and assist members around the province if they need it?
Exactly. Our members are going to, when they encounter issues for women that somehow can't get a response, then we'll access the Shoppers Fund to help keep women safe, help keep their children safe, and help them on their journey to, a safer life. So we're really thinking this can make a huge difference. So we're already hearing it has.
And can you just tell me a little bit about how have you guys been dealing with COVID-19? I understand that there's been probably some increased demand by shelters across the province, and how are you guys dealing with that?
Well, it's been interesting to watch it unfold because right now we're actually seeing a significant decrease or a quietness that is scary, actually. And we're concerned that women are thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't be coming to shelter. We know that abusers often use power and control. So this whole thing around social isolation, keeping women at home, plays right into their hands. So we have not seen yet the uptake or the surge, but we are anticipating that as things loosen up, that will be coming. The experiences have been slightly different in different parts of the province, but overall, shelters have really worked to create safe places for women, respond to all of what Alberta Health has required, and then some. So women can be assured that women's shelters are safe, both from a health perspective and, of course, from their safety perspective.
So do you see, like you said, once the restrictions start opening up, do you think that there's going to be a lot of shelters that are going to need to tie in, reach out to you guys for some more support, maybe from this fund or in some other kind of way?
Well, I think certainly the fund will help in terms of our COVID-19 response. And, sometimes there are things that just you need, like transportation has been a classic example of how can women even get to shelter if public transit is closed down, if, cars aren't traveling, everybody's staying home. There are all these extra challenges. So these funds will help with that a great deal. And we do anticipate that as things open up, we are going to hear more and more, because that's been the experience with other pandemics. That's been the experience with disasters, is you do have that behavioral aftershock that can stretch for months, if not years. So we're kind of gearing ourselves for what is about to happen.
And obviously the Alberta Council of Women's Shelters helps shelters across the province, and you guys have members across the province. Do you see a need kind of difference between rural shelters and shelters in more urban centers?
Well, I think some of the rural shelters are seeing more demand and challenges with transportation. They don't have Uber. you know, so it may be harder for women to get to shelter, especially when you've seen some of the major bus systems close down over the last couple of years. So transportation remains a huge issue for many women in trying to get to shelter to begin with. And depending on where you are in the province, I guess, particularly with the boom bust of the oil and gas sector, trying to access fundraising options for shelters in some of the smaller communities is really, really difficult. So important that people recognize that, you know, shelters are open, they're doing all they can, but they also need money to operate.
And if someone was interested in maybe giving a donation to Alberta Women's Shelters, how would they be able to do that?
Well, you could go to our website, acws.ca, and either donate directly to ACWS or find one of our members and go to their webpage and donate directly to them.
Perfect. Thank you for taking some time to talk with me today, Jan.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome back to This Week in Pet Project, everyone. We're joined once again with Becca Lawrence from the Lloydminster and District SPCA. How are you doing today, Becca?
Good. And yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you. So who do we got here? Who's this little fuzzy friend?
This is Rabbit, and he came to the shelter as a surrender. So he's about 14 and a half pounds, pure love and joy, and he just wants more loving he can go.
He looks to be pretty relaxed, I would say. He looks like a lap cat, if I'm not mistaken, or?
Yes, very much so, yeah.
Perfect. And so how are the kittens doing from last week? Just maybe we check in on them. Have some of them gotten adopted so far, or how are those going?
Yeah, the one actually that day that we did Pet Project went home, but his sibling is still here. And actually 2 more siblings came back from foster as well. So there's still 3 of them kicking around here and waiting for them to have homes.
Beautiful. So if anybody out there is looking for a kitten, obviously there's still some left at the SPCA. So, you know, call in and make an appointment. That's what you guys are doing right now, correct?
Yeah, that's what we're doing, yeah.
Okay, so call in, make an appointment. You can go in and see these wonderful kitties, or you could stop in and see Rabbit as well.
Yeah.
And how are you guys doing for dogs? Did you get any new dogs in this last week? Have any left? Okay. How are you guys doing?
Yes, we're actually getting pretty full on our dog situation. All large breed type dogs. We had a couple more hanging out in our playpen actually this morning too. So, you know, we're hoping that we can find where they belong to and get them home. But yeah, otherwise we are full on dogs and we're full on cats and kittens, especially again.
Oh boy, yeah. So if anybody obviously needs a dog, stop on by. They have plenty for you guys to take a look at. Now, once again, I know, you know, we mentioned this last week, but it's hard to do fundraising during these, you know, trying COVID times. Do you guys have any more plans? If somebody wanted to, say, you know, just make a donation to you guys, how can they do that? Is it possible to go on your website, or do people stop in, or?
Yes, yeah, like people, you can absolutely book in if you want to come give it to us personally, and we will absolutely do that for you. And then also, yeah, on our website, you can go on just lloydminsterspca.com, and that way you can just go right to our donate tab, and it goes through Canada Helps, and you can donate that way as well. We're definitely counting on our donations right now for sure too. Obviously, we know times are tough right now, but so it's really anything if you want to help a little bit, that's what we need for sure.
Absolutely. So anybody out there, you know, if you got a few extra dollars and you don't have room in your house to adopt an animal, you can still make a difference, you know, for a lot of these fuzzy little guys. Even if you just stop in and, you know, you drop a few dollars off, would be wonderful, right, Becca?
Yeah, and I mean, even we have the option to, you know, sponsor an animal's adoption too. So I mean, we can always do something like that, and then that always helps get an animal their home a little bit sometimes too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always another option too. So beautiful. Is there anything else you want to tell us today, Becca? Any other late breaking news in the world of the Lloydminster SPCA?
No, otherwise, other than our kitten season has officially started. So if you are in the market for a little baby kitten, we have tons of them right now.
Beautiful. So there you go, folks. They're full up on dogs. They got lots of kitties for you. So whatever you're into, you can stop on by and they can send you home with something fuzzy to pet.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, thanks again, Becca. We appreciate you stopping in online, obviously, since we can't have you in studio these days. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us here today.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Beautiful. See you next week.
Manage your waste and recyclables with Quick Pick Waste Disposal. 100% locally owned and proud to serve and support the communities we call home. Quick Pick, the convenient solution to avoid pollution.
Some recent news coming out of the MLB, the players are expected to approve a universal designated hitter. Our Evan Kenny and Eric Bay sat down to chat about how the changes would affect the game.
Well, the MLB has a big announcement. The players are expected to go through with a universal DH. Joining me today to talk about this is Eric Bay. Eric, thanks for joining me.
Hey, always glad to be here and great to be talking some sports.
Now, Eric, what are your initial reactions to this decision?
It seems almost like it's long overdue. You look at the way the two leagues have been run with the American League using the DH since the 70s. And again, we've talked before, you just look at this, for every Madison Bumgarner in the NL, there's 10 John Lesters, right? So that ninth position, it's almost a guaranteed out. So I really think this will help when you look at the offensive side of the ball, especially for those National League teams. This will help kind of even the playing field the way you see it there between the NL and the AL, and also make it a little bit more exciting from the fans instead of, a strikeout or a ground ball to first.
Yeah, the fans was my first thought. Everybody would rather see, a 300 power hitter hit rather than a guy who might be hitting 100. And as well, a lot of the times those pitchers are used for sacrifice bunts, and I understand that that's crucial in the gameplay side of things, but from a fan's perspective, it can get slow over times. So I do think that that could help. Now, you mentioned it, that batters will be possibly producing more. Could this be just because, they're focusing strictly on hitting rather than having to play, say, first base and be a power hitter?
Yeah, there's obviously different aspects to it. You look at a guy like JD Martinez in Boston, normally a DH and a big video guy. So between innings, obviously he's only up there 3-4 times a game. So he can look on his swing, kind of focus in. But I think it's just kind of that overall, obviously people are going to be pitching to that pitcher because it's a guaranteed out. But now this kind of takes some more strategy for the pitchers when they're attacking batters. Obviously, you're going to want to get that guy out, but it's not a guaranteed out, so they do have to be on their game no matter what. And you look at it, too, when you look at the AL and the NL and compared to pitching, the way you see it, obviously, the AL is a tougher league for pitchers, so we could see it become that way, too, in the NL as well, where it just kind of evens that playing field for pitchers, making it a little bit tougher when they are trying to get 9 batters out instead of 8 batters and probably 1 guaranteed out, 9 out of 10 times.
One thing I'm interested to see is somebody like, say, Pete Alonso playing in the National League currently. He hit 53 home runs last year, and that was while he was playing first base. Just think what he could do if he was only focusing on hitting home runs. Now, 53, obviously really good, led the majors last year, but could those numbers be pushed up to, say, 60, even just those extra 7? Now, if we look at it going to the World Series, there's a bit of a disadvantage for American League pitchers. They have to go in after maybe hitting once in the season and then go hit in the World Series. How could that change things?
Well, it's not only a disadvantage to the pitchers, but also to the managers trying to fill up those lineup cards. Again, I go back to the Red Sox example when you have a guy like JD Martinez or even David Ortiz from years past, and you look at them having to slide into an outfield position, JD in right field, David Ortiz playing first base, and how that, one, takes away from maybe the defensive side of the ball, and 2, makes it harder for them to get those guys in the lineup, whether they do want to sacrifice that offense and defense. So it does going to take a little bit away from the managerial side of the game in the World Series and almost makes not necessarily home field advantage non-existent, but lessens that home field advantage, especially for those National League teams when you are looking at it. And again, those National League teams have been working their lineups all season. They know what they want, how to fill in. And then you go to the AL and you have those guys coming over. You have to have pitchers bat, which again, like you mentioned, is obviously very tough to just pick up if they haven't been doing it for, 1, 2, maybe more years. And so again, it's not only the pitching side of it, but it's also the strategy that goes into it when you are filling out that lineup card.
Well, Eric, it's always a pleasure having you on and talking sports with you. Thanks for giving us your insight.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.